All right, we're going to take a look at finding an inverse of a 3 by 3 matrix. So I have a 3 by 3 matrix. So again, 3 rows, 3 columns. Got -1, 0, 0, 3, 2, 0, 0, -6, 4. And I want to find the inverse of this matrix. To find an inverse of a 3 by 3, what I want to do is write my identity matrix, identity 3 by 3 matrix, next to it. So I'm just going to go right here, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. And I'm going to work with this matrix, not just a 3 by 3, but I'm going to work with it as a 3 by 6. So we've got 6 columns there. And so to create the inverse, what I want to do is get this part on the left to be the identity matrix. So instead of these numbers, I want the 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1 on this left side. And then whatever I'm left with over here would be that inverse. So I look at this part. And one of the things I see is, all right, well, I've got my 2 zeros I wanted. I'd sure like that to be a -1. Okay? So I'm just going to go -1 R1. I'm going to multiply everything by -1 in that first row. So that would give me then +1, 0, 0. And I'm just going to put this bar over at the end. But I would then have a -1, 0, 0. Just so I don't have that kind of floating around in the middle there. And of course, everything else stay the same because I didn't switch anything. 0, 0, 1. Okay. So this is what I wanted for my first row. Hey, that's what I've got. I go to the second row. I want 0, 1, 0 over here. Well, that means I need a 0 where that 3 is. So using my row operations, like, all right, I can multiply row 1 by -3. So I'd have -3 times row 1 plus row 2. And I'm going to put that answer in row 2. So what I'm going to first do then is rewrite row 1 because I said the answer is going in row 2. So I didn't change anything for row 1. So 1, 0, 0, -1, 0, 0. I'm going to get row 3 out of the way too, again, because I said I'm putting my solution in row 2. So I'm going to write 0, -6, 4, 0, 0, 1. And then I'm going to perform this operation. So -3 times 1 is -3, plus 3, it says plus row 2, hey, that's 0. -3 times 0 plus 2 is 2. -3 times 0 plus 0 is 0. -3 times -1 is a +3 plus 0, 3. -3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. And -3 times 0 plus 0 is 0. Now, remember I want this in the second row. I want this 0, 1, 0. And I look down there and go, all right, I got a 0, 2, 0. So now I want this to be a 1. I'm going to divide the second row by 2. Because 0 divided by 2 would still be 0. 2 divided by 2 would be 1. 0 divided by 2 would still be 0. I would create that 0, 1, 0 over here. And so I'm going to say 1/2 row 2. I'm going to take half of it or divide it by 2. Okay? So I'm going to move over here. And I'm going to rewrite my row 1. 1, 0, 0, negative 1, 0, 0. I'm going to rewrite my row 3. 0, negative 6, 4, 0, 0, 1. And now I'm going to go through and take half of row 2 because I wanted that to be a 1. So if I divide all of these numbers by 2, I get 0, 1, 0, 3 halves, 1 half, 0. So now what I said at the very beginning was I want this 3 by 3 to look like my identity one. So I'm slowly transitioning, doing some row operations where I'm getting this guy moved over to here. So I now have, it's nice to have it up here by each other. I've got my 1, 0, 0. I've got my 0, 1, 0. Now we're going to go deal with this. I would like a 0, 0, 1 here. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Well, I got my 0. So I'm going right here. It's 6, negative 6, I should say. I want that to be a 0. This is where I can use my row 2. So in other words, if this was a 6, I could then add it to this and I would get 0. So I'm going to do 6 R2 plus R3 and put my answer in R3. So my answer is going in R3 or row 3. I'm leaving 1 and 2 alone. They're already like I want them. So I'm going to go rewrite 1 and 2. 1, 0, 0, negative 1, 0, 0. 0, 1, 0. See, 3 halves, 1 half, 0. Now I'll go through this operation. 6. 6 times 0 plus 0, 0. 6 times 1 plus negative 6, 0. 6 times 0 plus 4, 4. 6 times 3 halves would be 9 plus 0, 9. 6 times 1 half would be 3 plus 0, 3. And 6 times 0 plus 1 is 1. Now I'm getting really close. This is what I wanted. I got 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. Oh, I want a 1 right there. So this means I would need to divide row 3 by 4. And I can write row 3 divided by 4. Or I can just do 1/4 row 3. So I'm going to rewrite my first 2 rows anyway. 1, 0, 0. Negative 1, 0, 0. 0, 1, 0. 3 halves, 1 half, 0. Now I'm on row 3. Divide by 4 or multiply by 1/4. 1/4 times 0, 0, 0. 1/4 times 4, 1. 1/4 times 9, 9/4. 1/4 times 3, 3/4. 1/4 times 1, 1/4. I have now created the inverse matrix of the original. This 3 by 3 right here, this is the inverse matrix of the original 3 by 3 right here. So, just to review, I wanted to find the inverse of that 3 by 3. Okay. To do that, the first thing I'm going to write is my identity matrix next to it, my 3 by 3 identity matrix. And then I'm going to do row operations with this 3 by 6 now to get my identity matrix on this part. So I'm doing all the row operations to get these 9 values in these 9 slots. Then whatever's left on the right side in the end would be the identity matrix. So what we went through was, if I had this piece here, go through all of my row operations, what happened on the left side, the matrix that I ended up with, this became the identity, or excuse me, the inverse of that original 3 by 3. So my process was, this tells me what I want. I looked right here and went, all right, I want a positive one. So I multiplied the top row by a negative one. That gave me those values. I've got what I wanted here. Now I want a 0, 1, 0. How do I get a 0 in this first spot? Well, if I do -3 times row 1 plus row 2, that's going to create a 0. So I had -3 plus 3, 0. I completed that row operation. That gave me this. I'm close. I need a 1 there, that second spot. So I divided by 2. That got me to here. Now I'm focused on the third row. I want that 0, 0, 1. I already had the 0. 6 times 1, so 6 row 2 plus row 3 gave me the 0 right here. Completed that, and then I'm really close. I needed the 1 on that bottom piece, which is why I multiplied by 1/4, or you could think of it as dividing by 4, whichever is easier. This would then become that inverse of that 3 by 3.